My name is Judge Walter Rivera, and I have the pleasure of interviewing today Justice Maria Vazquez-Doles, Supreme Court, Orange County, within the Ninth Judicial District. I wanted to start the interview by asking you to explain your general background, such as where you were born, what schools you went to.
Well, I was born in Guayama, Puerto Rico, which is the southern middle part of the island. And I came to the United States at 5 years old. I'm one of 7 children, and I'm number five. And we moved to Brooklyn, New York. I applied to Brooklyn College and did my undergrad there. I graduated with an economics and a business degree, and then went off to law school.
And where did you attend law school?
I went to law school at Touro Law School, which was called the Jacob D. Fuchsberg Law Center, and it was based out of Huntington, Long Island when I went. Since then, it has moved to Central Islip, and it's amongst the courts there.
And why did you want to be a judge?
I wanted to be a judge for a number of reasons. Coming from a Hispanic background and one of 7 kids, we were an underrepresented community. And I saw firsthand my mother and my father, who didn't speak English very well, having a lot of barriers before them. And so those barriers was something that instilled in me that maybe I can help in the future with laying those barriers down.
And what was your path to the bench?
My path to the bench was after my first year of law school. We were looking for internship opportunities. I decided to look in Manhattan. I thought the best internship would be in the courts, because then you would know the inner workings of the court and what would be required of me as an attorney. So I applied for an internship with Judge Dora Irizarry. And she was, my first internship was with Judge Dora Irizarry in my first summer of law school. And also I doubled that internship with working for legal aid in Nassau County. After law school, I took on the position of an attorney working with Owens Corning in the asbestos litigation. We were doing defense of the mass toxic tort litigation, Owens Corning, and then they filed Chapter 11 for reorganization. And when they filed Chapter 11 for reorganization, they offered me a severance package that lasted me 2 years. And within that 2-year time, I was able to obtain a job very quickly within 5 months with the Unified Court System law department, to be able to handle the inundation of the courts of all these motions on a lot of these mass toxic tort cases, not only the asbestos, but the breast implants. We moved to Monroe, New York, which is in Orange County. It's part of the Ninth Judicial District. And we bought a home there, laid our roots down for our girls and ourselves. And we then became politically involved. We wanted to see the disparity of jobs and the diversity of jobs grow in our area. And that's what really excited us as I was opening up my practice, and my husband became town councilman. And in 2005, about a year and a half after we moved up there, and I diligently started working as an attorney, sole practitioner, and decided, okay, I'm going to go ahead and run for town judge. And 2009 was the first time that I went for an election, and very, very quickly got a lot of support. There was some adversity, but in my town, there was a lot of support on my end. And I wound up being elected by 85% of the residents in the town of Monroe.
What was
I,
the Latino landscape like there at that time in terms of associations, community
oh,
organizations, political clubs, and the like?
it was very scant. The political landscape, I'm sorry, for the Latinos, there was a group that started about 4 years prior to my moving up there in 2004. The organization started about 2003, and it was the Latino Democratic Committee of Orange County. And other than that political organization, there was no other. As far as any other groups of Hispanic descent, there was none. So the first organization, the only organization was that one.
And did
And
you
as
get,
far as the population was concerned, in the town of Monroe, I would say maybe 2% Hispanic at the time. And the Hispanics in Orange County were more in Middletown and in Newburgh, and still at a very small percentage of the Orange County residents.
and what political, civic, legal, and/or community groups supported you in that initial campaign?
Well, at that time, I did have some community organizations that did back me. I had the Rotary Club that backed me in the town of Monroe. I also had, I was president of the Friends of the Monroe Free Library, which was a pretty big group, and they supported me. I was elected in the town of Monroe in the year 2009.
And how long was the term?
The term was a 4-year term in the town position as justice of the town of Monroe. And I was elected for that term, as I mentioned, 85% of the residents. In my town is a little quirky in the residents. There's about 60% of the residents now, but at that time it was 50% of the residents were Hasidic Jews, and now they have their own town. But at that time, they were part of the town of Monroe, and they were also part of the voting base.
Were you the first Latino judge elected to that town court,
Yes, I was. I was the first one in the county.
the county? And how many terms did you serve there?
I served one term of 4 years in the town justice position. I decided to run for Supreme Court.
And when did you do that?
I did that in 2013.
And
I'm
tell us
now
about
on.
the process that you underwent to get elected to the Supreme Court.
That was quite difficult. There was a lot of adversity. There were a lot of people that I want to say, not only in Orange County. Orange County is a very Republican county. So Orange County, Putnam, and Dutchess are all very strong Republican counties. And they were 3 out of the 5 counties that needed to elect me for Supreme Court. Westchester and Rockland were the other 2 counties making up the 5 counties in the 9th Judicial District. So the adversity was very fierce. It was one in which I was followed, I was videotaped, I was threatened, I had phone calls left and right that I better step out of the race. If I knew what was best for me, I was afraid to a certain degree because I had 3 girls, right? Triplets that were at that point in time 9 years old, had to watch out for them. There was also the political landscape of where I lived. I was town judge in a half of the population being Hasidic. Was I too Hasidic friendly? Was what I was being told. And that also was untrue, as you know, when you're a judge, you have to have your blind justice on to make sure that everybody is treated fairly and equally. And the taunting was intense.
And what was the final outcome there of that race?
Well, I was told by a very, very smart judge that did help me along the way, just as a mentor. He says, do yourself a favor, concentrate on Westchester and Rockland, because Westchester and Rockland are both Democratic counties, Democratic strong counties. You're a Democrat. They're the ones with the most population. And therefore, by concentrating on those two counties, will you be more successful than fighting against the grain of the other three counties that make up the ninth judicial district? And that's exactly what I did. I went to every organization, I went to every committee, not only in Westchester and Rockland, but even those that I did fight the grain on, but concentrated in Westchester and Rockland, went to every function, ate more pennies a la vodka than I ever wanted to touch. But I'll tell you the truth, it was invigorating just knowing that I had to go out every single day. And really, my purpose was to make a more representative government. If we do have a certain population that are Hispanics, government should reflect that. And because there was no Hispanic Supreme Court justices in the ninth judicial district in the five counties, there had to be one. So I pushed for that. And of course, and I encourage anybody else that wants to come on board to jump on board with us.
So you became the first, and that's quite an honor and distinction. So we want to congratulate you on that. And
Thank you.
also, fortunately, to this day, there haven't been any others as of yet.
Right. And like I said, I mean, now the difference in the landscape, as you asked that question before, is that before it was just me and you, Judge Rivera, and the town positions, maybe Judge Suarez, of course, that he was the one who began us being in this region as a local judge. But since then, we've had many more village and town justices in the ninth judicial district that have come on board. So I'm actually very positive that in the next coming years, there's going to be others in the Supreme Court bench, county court bench, and every level.
That leads to my next question. What advice do you have for young, aspiring Latina lawyers seeking to become judges?
First, I would say that my advice would be to make sure that they understand procedure, civil procedure or criminal procedure, whichever bench they want to take. Procedure is foremost in a judge's mind to make sure that you're not only teaching the bar, but you're also teaching the litigants that they have to do things properly before the court. In addition, I would also say that get involved. The networking uh, extremely important to be able to get to know people, but more importantly, in a judicial position, because when we run for election, we can't speak on issues that could come before the court. So they have to put a face to a name. In order for people to know you, you have to be involved. So get involved with your local Rotary Club, with any type of, whether it be a library club or any other organization or association, so that way people get to know you. And when you then run for those positions, they can then say, oh, I know so-and-so. Yes, he's a good guy or gal, and they would be perfect for that position. They're smart and they'll be able to get the word out on your behalf.
In your opinion, Judge, what is the significance of the formation of the Association of Judges of Hispanic Heritage, which, as you know, is the precursor to Latino Judges Association?
I think it's extremely significant. And being a judge in a county where I wasn't really embraced. It was the association, the Latino Judges Association, and the members of the association, of which I had, thankfully, many years that I knew many of the members. It is that lifeline that is necessary when you first come on the bench, when you have a question, and you can, through the instant messenger, reach out to that lifeline and be able to have an answer within seconds of your question. It's important to be able to have that backup, to make sure that you're doing what's right, to make sure that you have the knowledge necessary to deal with this quirky little fact in a case that maybe somebody else may have seen before and have dealt with before. So the Latino Judges Association was imperative. Also, during my swearing in, they were in they were in the jury box cheering me on. So that made me feel comfortable and embraced.
Indeed. And what would you like the bench, the bar, and the community to remember about you?
I would hope that what they remember about me was, hey, she was fair. She gave me the opportunity to be heard. You know what? She was patient. She was very knowledgeable. And I felt that I got a fair result, even though it may have not checked off all the items I wanted.
Well, I
And I
want to
think that would
thank
be
you.
it.
Thank you so much, Judge, and this concludes the interview. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Take care.